Well, what we're going to bring you now are some exclusive details of satellite images of Chinese airfield activity just 200 kilometers away from the Pangong Lake. What we are talking about now is the Ngarikunsha airport that is in China, in Tibet. It's about 200 kilometers from the Pangong Lake. Why should we be so concerned about an airfield which is in China? Well, I'll explain why. Let's go to the next picture. The first image that you see over here, which has been shared with us by an outstanding OSINT expert who relies on commercially available satellite imagery, Detresfa, and I can tell you that we have shared the original images which were tweeted out with the Indian Air Force as well, so they are aware of this. This image you see is of that Nagari airport, that is of the 6th of April 2020. Let's zoom in once again so that our viewers can actually take a look at this airport. Now, on this, so essentially over here it's a high resolution image. It just seems like any high altitude or any airbase for that matter. But when we change the image and we bring you the image of May 2020, there are some interesting details which may not catch your eye in the first sort of look at it. In fact, within a period of 1 month, there is massive Chinese airbase construction activities. What exactly do we mean? Let's bring up the next image, which has got both of these on a two-screen shot over there that you can see. On your right, where we've circled in the lower circle, you see the addition of an extra track. Now that could be a parallel taxi track. It also could be a place where helicopters are based for their exploitation in this high altitude area. And the circle to the top, which is not there in the image just 1 month, just a few weeks earlier on, is of massive landfill activity going on over there. And if that's not enough, what we can share with you now should give you an idea of why this particular airbase is of concern. Let's go to the next image, and this image actually zooms in on 4 Chinese fighter aircraft. These are either J-11 or J-16. These are variants of the Russian Sukhoi 27 and Sukhoi 30. They're manufactured in China now, reverse engineered. These images are on the tarmac both in April and in May. And while this detachment was first apparently seen over here in 2019 December, just a few months back, it's the first time that these images have been released online. So what we are essentially saying right now is the presence of Chinese frontline fighter aircraft just 200 kilometers away from the Pangong Lake area, which is one of the areas where India and China are locked in a high altitude skirmish as we speak now. Let's go back to the first image, if we can, of the location that we are talking about. The location that we are talking about is the Ladakh area. Ngarikunsha airport is what you saw just now. The Pangong Lake is what you see a little higher up. The first skirmishes between India and China on the 5th and 6th of May took place on the Pangong Lake. Subsequent skirmishes and more build-up of Chinese forces taking place several hundred kilometers, in fact not several hundred, about 150 odd kilometers further upwards to the north in the Galwan river basin area and elsewhere. But what we are reporting for the first time are actually further details of what that airbase activity right there is. And there is construction activity in this airbase over a period of 1 month, and the first images of Chinese frontline fighter aircraft at this base. We are not for a moment saying that these fighter planes had not been deployed earlier. In fact, Detestra over there in fact captions that and says these were first seen in December 2019, but that's just a few months back. It is, however, the first time that we are seeing these fighter aircraft in this frontline airbase just 200 kilometers from the Pangong Lake at a time when there is a great deal of tension. So what is really new over here? Within a period of a few weeks, you've got Chinese airfield construction activity. Let's bring up that image one more time. The original image of April 2020, just a couple of weeks back. Let's bring up that image so that you take a look at it, and that's on the left. And then on the right, which is an image of the 21st of May 2020. The original image was of the 6th of April 2020. The one on the right shows a parallel taxi track, or perhaps a track used to deploy, to position helicopters, and massive land activity, construction activity to the right, on the picture on the right as well. Compare that with what was there earlier, and you can clearly see the difference over there. So all in all, this just adds to a perspective on India's present geostrategic concerns as far as China is concerned. And I would like to tell you that original images of this airbase on a recent satellite pass were in fact put up by Detestra. We shared those images with the Air Force, and they are aware of this Chinese airfield construction activity. Since that conversation, I have been able to procure a few more images which show what we've been describing in the last few minutes.